Check 1, 2. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're back on the Hohner YouTube channel. This is Hohner Live episode 79, and it's the last episode of 2022, which is amazing. We're all, at least partly in a Christmas mood. I don't know. We have the challenge coming up on Sunday on Twitch with Liam Ward. Excited about that. But I'm also super happy to talk to Jason Rosenblatt today. Welcome to the stream.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. Yeah. For everybody who doesn't know about Jason, he's not only an amazing harmonica player on the diatonic, playing jazz and all different kinds of world music, but he's also a great pianist. And yeah, I just looked it up. Like the first video that I discovered on YouTube of you playing, there was probably like the first video you could find if you typed in diatonic harmonica jazz. Because that's what you called the videos, right?
Right, initially, yeah.
So that's how I got to know about you. And I mean, that's how I got into playing harmonica. That's how I got into playing jazz on the harmonica.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's what I found on YouTube, you know? I was just like a YouTube child. So, yeah, that's fantastic. And then later on, we did already talk about that. We were both part of the Howard Levy online harmonica school. So, yeah, we can dive deeper there. So, you are in Israel right now, right?
That's right. Yes.
But you lived in Canada for quite a while.
I'm originally from Montreal, and then some of the early diatonic harmonica jazz videos were in Philadelphia, in the States, where I lived for a few years right after I got married, and then back to Montreal for about another 10 to 15 years, and now we're in Israel.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's wonderful. I think I do have one student from Israel. But yeah, you did already talk about that. There's like an amazing music scene there, and
yeah, it's like
all the
very
time if
high
I
level
go to these
scene.
concerts, like Avishai Cohen, he always brings young people on drums and on bass, which is crazy. And you said it's mostly chromatic harmonica.
The tradition here, it's mostly chromatic players. There used to be an orchestra, harmonica orchestra, and there still is actually, continues to this day in Ramat Gan. It was started by a Holocaust survivor in the 1950s, 60s, and he just kept it going. His name was Shmuel Gogol. And he kept it going until basically until he died, and it just keeps on going. And a lot of great players have graduated from this orchestra. One of them being Rotem Koval, who's one person, and Ariel Bart, who you may know. She can't be older than 22, 23 years old. She's very young. She's a wonderful jazz player, wonderful composer.
Yeah, we did talk to her on the Hohner Live.
Ah, good. Okay, good. So you've seen her, so you know her. She's a real,
like
they say, rising star.
Discovery for me.
Yeah.
And
of course, you probably know Ronnie Eitan. Pardon?
Oh, she also played at the festival you just organized. It happened 1 month
That's
ago.
correct. Yes. Yes, she just played at the festival. We're happy to say there's a fair number of women playing harmonica in Israel, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. There are so many women playing harmonica. Also in Iran, like what I noticed on Instagram, it's crazy.
Right.
Of course, like also a lot of chromatic. That's true.
I'm guessing the reason is because of the tendency to gravitate towards classical music early on as a form of teaching music here in Israel. So it was seen as a more serious instrument if you played chromatic, and if you played diatonic, it was for simple folk melodies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so how do all the chromatic players in Israel look at you then?
That's a great question. I'm probably there's one or two people here that are grasping the overblow method, and I think they appreciate it. I think they're surprised because it's I don't think they expect the music that I play to be coming out of a diatonic harmonica. I think they think, that's something that happens far away in Europe or America, and now there's someone in Israel that's actually doing it. So it's something that they see in front of their eyes, and they can hear with their ears right up close in a performance context. And I think they realize, it can be done, and maybe I like to do that too, type of thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hope there are many new young cats coming along playing diatonic. And I mean, the biggest thing for me watching your early videos was just like, how effortless you played all that stuff. Also with your kids on the video.
I'm there. It's 10 o'clock here now, so I'm trying to control them to keep them from coming in the room. They're a little older now.
Oh yeah.
But I still have an 8. My youngest is 8, and she could run in here at any moment. We're keeping her locked up for now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Bei mir bist du schön recording inspired me, and I think one of the earlier ones was also around midnight.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then I discovered all of your videos on the Howard Levy Harmonica School, and I think you did like some 251 phrases and going through all the keys, and I guess that was also one of my first videos, just like starting to incorporate some passing notes within these 251s, like just like the most basic thing in all keys. I think that's what I did, just that phrase. That was my first video on the school, I think.
And you managed successfully. I remember seeing. I mean, I think you were, like I said, I think you were 15 years old, and I'm like, this kid is going to be good. And you were already good at 15.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was just like, for me, it was playing blues at some point, and then I don't know, like you get bored of the 12 bars at some point, and the only other thing that I could discover online was jazz on the diatonic. Right. And it wasn't like me being a big jazz fan. Right. It was just like, that's what I could find to improve on the instrument, Right. And that's why I played jazz. I don't know. How was it for you? Did you have a love for jazz early on, or did you also get into it through an instrument?
At the beginning, I was a blues player, like my.
So even on the piano.
On piano, then the first few things I ever played on harmonica. Just straight ahead blues licks. Like Born in Chicago, that type of thing. And I started getting into not jazz. I would go to like Montreal at a jazz festival when I was like 16, 17. I didn't understand what was going on, and it was confusing. But I gravitated towards like electric blues, and later on towards things like Blues Traveler, like is it I don't remember. Like all those Blues Traveler licks and that kind of thing. And I kind of got into that. And then I heard UFO Tofu or Tofu UFO or whatever it's called, the Bela Fleck album. And that was what, oh my gosh, I can't believe a harmonica can do that. And it really, that just kind of opened my mind, but I didn't really have the capability to understand what was going on at that point, because I was still 92, 93, and I wasn't even I was like 19, 20. I wasn't really like looking at music as a career at that point. But it was, I think, the album that Howard did with Rabbi Abu Khalil, Odd Times, that turned me on, because it was modal. It was a little more accessible,
Yeah.
and I heard modes, modes that I understood from my experience with Jewish music. And because it was so diatonic.
Which scale you just played? Because some out there
I
might
was
not
playing
know.
E Phrygian, E Phrygish. Sorry, Phrygish. It's Phrygian sharp 3. And that kind of opened my eyes to, like, okay, that's a good stepping stone to learning how to play in other styles on the diatonic harmonica. Because again, it was, even though it was not blues and not familiar like American folk music or country music, whatever, it was still diatonic, albeit in an unconventional key. Or mode, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So initially, was it actually the blues that spoke to you, like how you got into harmonica, or did you discover the instrument somewhere else?
No, it was really through blues. And I remember, even first of all, listening to Sonny Terry. I still, like, again, that kind of thing. I was listening to and playing, and I was pretty much playing that stuff within the first year of playing harmonica, when I was about 15, 16. And then I got into electric harmonica through people like Paul Butterfield, and also through a wonderful player in Montreal by the name of Jim Zeller, who I used to go to shows as a 15, 16-year-old. The drinking age in Montreal is 18. But 15 years old, they didn't care. You go in the bar, order a beer. I didn't drink. I like the whole beer was just sitting there on the table, and I would go and listen to him play. He would play like Papa's or Rolling Stone, and but really heavy distortion. He would play with chorus effect. He would play with actually had a real like echoplex. He had a real like delay, like an old school delay, tape delay, and it was bizarre. And you schlep all this gear with him to shows. It was usually like a guitar, bass, drums, and harmonica. And I would go in minus 20-degree weather. I would listen to the set. I would go into the alley behind the bar just to practice what I heard.
Oh yeah. So those were basically your first lessons.
Exactly. Because my first harmonica I kind of stole from my father. I knew he played harmonica in his band, and I heard him playing. And one day I'm just looking around. I think I may have heard Jim Zeller first at one of the Montreal International Jazz Festivals, and I think I was inspired through that. And then I went through my dad's desk drawer, and I found. I believe it was an A Marine band.
Okay.
Which unfortunately got crushed under a car at some point.
Wow.
I think I dropped it out of my pocket and then it was flattened in the driveway.
That would make a good YouTube video nowadays. But did the key of the harmonica play a role later on, like starting out playing on an A, or did it matter at all?
Oh, starting off, no. I very quickly learned the idea of that if I was listening to, let's say, again, a Sonny Terry or Sonny Boy Williamson album, that if they're playing most of the time in cross harp, that I would have to go out and buy myself a B flat harmonica, an A harmonica, G harmonica.
Yeah.
And back then in Canada, it was, $15 for a harmonica, which quite frankly wasn't that expensive. So I started off, playing special 20s. Those were my favorite because I felt they lasted the longest and they didn't hurt my lips. I was, I still have tons of those harmonicas, and one day I'm going to get around to tuning them. I have, 30-year-old harmonicas lying around.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do you set up your own harmonicas, or do you play customized instruments?
So I do play customized instruments. I have a number of Joe Spires customized harmonicas. Here's one of them.
Oh, wow.
Really, it's like cream of the crop to me. I mean, it plays. I wish every harmonica can play out of the box like a Joe Spires harmonica plays.
Awesome.
I have a number of harmonicas, also Hohner and also Shtreiml harmonicas that were customized by a friend of mine in Montreal. Antoine, I forget his, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on his last name, but he studied with Andrew Zajac out of Kingston, Ontario. So I presume that whatever he taught, he can do, the master is as good as the pupil. So I would say that's like Andrew Zajac method. And they play wonderfully. And then I have this other harmonica I've been using, this beautiful Arkia Tavorade. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm embarrassed. The Arkia harmonica. It's Hohner reeds, but it's kind of like they're trying to produce a mass-produced, customized harmonica.
Okay.
It plays wonderfully. And then finally, I do my own work. I don't do a great job, but I set them up. Actually, the harmonicas I use the most for practicing and for, let's say, less sensitive gigs are the ones I do myself. The ones that are in a quiet concert hall or on a recording session, I'll use like the ones that were customized by a professional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't trust my own work.
Yeah, but you practice on your own.
Oh yeah, those are the ones I have a Shtreiml it's my infamous Shtreiml. Let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. I've had this since 2007. I've tuned the reeds once. It's totally flat. Like if you look, like not the reeds are flat, but the comb got crushed, probably from just pressure. This one to me plays the most familiarly because that's what I practice on. Yeah. It's like suddenly picking up a guitar with slightly higher action to play a show after you've been practicing on a nice low action guitar and you're comfortable with that. It doesn't make sense to have that huge variation, especially if you're going to play a show. You have to change your whole technique at showtime. It's not so convenient.
Yeah. That's true. But that's interesting. I just like play the same instrument, both like practicing and on stage.
Really? I'm too. I guess the term is anal about the customized ones. Like they're so good. The Zajac method. How do you call it? Shtreimls that I have, and then these. They're special 20 cover. They're special 20 cover plates, but they're marine band reeds that Spires did. These are probably 10 years old. They're still playing tune. Like I don't even want to open them. I'm too hesitant. And now that I'm in Israel, to send them back to St. Louis, or not. He's not in St. Louis. He's somewhere in Missouri. It's a pain. So I rather just keep those for very special occasions.
Wow, I would love to try a Joe Spires instrument. Can you demonstrate the overdraws on the harmonica?
I don't know if you can hear it. You can really even shape them.
also like the 9-hole overdraw like sounded very effortless.
It's effort. It really is effortless. Everything. The thing that I like the best about it is that even with all the wonderful like reed work for the playability of it, you know, he manages to temper the high frequencies. So you know, a lot of the times when you have a customized harmonica and they have to bring in the metal on the side of the reed to make it play easier, you get these harsher treble frequencies, like higher frequencies, as I guess they're overtones and whatnot. I don't know what you would call it. This doesn't have it. This plays very. It plays very mellow, still very mellow. You know, it kind of reminds me, like, one of the nicest sounding harmonicas, in my opinion, out of the box, is like a Golden Melody. It sounds very mellow. And if you listen to some of Howard's early recordings, Howard Levy's early recordings, it has that mellow characteristic. But as you bring in the reeds, you narrow the reed slots, it creates these extra overtones. So the harmonica becomes easier to play, but a little harsher. So you have to work with EQ in the mix, that type of thing. Or you know, or an EQ pedal if you're playing through a mic, but this harmonica doesn't require any of that.
Yeah. How about the 10-hole half-step band?
10-hole half-step. Let me go all the way down. I'm not so great at that. Yeah, I have to work on that. It's not great.
Yeah, that's like always an interesting one on checking that one out on customized instrument. Because
but on a C harmonica, it's harder. On a lower harmonica, it's a little easier. You know, even the B flat. We always had this. I always have to kind of recalibrate that B flat. That B flat sometimes is a little flat, you know, the third hole draw bend down a half step. You know, that one again, and it changes depending on your tongue position in the back. Changes depending. That was the Archaea harmonica. There's a side. They're roughly the same, but you always have to get reacquainted with the instrument depending on what you take out. And then of course every different key harmonica, lower harmonica, to get down to that third hole draw half step, it changes. Like if I grab a G harmonica, which I don't usually play, I don't practice on. I have to drop it a little more. It's less comfortable.
Yeah, I got to practice on the higher ones. Like,
I usually don't go higher than a D harmonica.
Yeah, same. Yeah. But we had like some my pianist and we had two other composers write like a harmonica concerto kind of. Mm-hmm. And of course, like, I mean, they are writing for the harmonica for the first time, and afterwards I just got to check like, when am I going to play which harmonica? And I mean, there are some passages I have to play on an E flat or on an E.
Can you read? Let's say something is in concert. Are you able to switch harmonicas? Like, in other words, can you read a concert chart on an E harmonica or a concert chart on an F sharp harmonica?
No, I can read on the C.
Right.
Well, so I didn't work on the other keys. No.
Right. So that's the next step for me. I like to be able to read at least on a B flat harmonica or an A harmonica or something. I can read on a C harmonica, but if I have a situation like that,
jazz song, whatever, and it's like mostly in one key, or it has like one or two key changes, that's fine, you know.
Right. But if you have like let's say it's not a jazz standard, but it's like you're saying, like a classical score or something like that, or just even like a complex pop song or jazz song, I'm like, I'll ask for the finale file or the Sibelius file or whatever, and I'll find the key harmonica that works best for the tune, and I'll just transpose the tune and imagine I'm playing in on a C harmonica.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Okay. Yeah, I think Howard can just read on any. He can just read it.
Yeah, but really, I had to spend some time just playing and getting into kind of enjoying, because I don't enjoy playing these higher pitched harmonicas.
Yeah. I mean, I used to like it, again, let's say, do I even have a higher pitched harmonica? I'm looking. I used to like it when I was like a kid. I guess I liked the feeling of it. Where's my D? This is the highest one I have. I used to like playing blues. There's a nice kind of tightness to it.
Yeah. I mean, and it definitely cuts through,
It's just a feeling. I can't find my high F or whatever, but I mean, I remember just playing along with like John Popper or something like that, and just like breaking out in a sweat, like trying to keep up, and it was just a nice exercise type of thing to keep up, and just the feeling of bending that note. There's less. I'm not looking to finesse any nice phrases necessarily on high E harmonica or high F harmonica. It's too shrill. But for like a crying blues type of thing, it makes a lot of sense.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I think played like a big band Christmas gig. We played the Christmas song, and I like to play it in 12th position, but I think it was in A flat, so it was an E flat harmonica, and I mean, I don't have a low E flat in my case right now, but I ended up at least in playing at a church. We did play a 3 concert, but at the church, the higher one just cut through way better. It was nice. It actually sounded good, kind of warm, because like the acoustics of the church like worked well. But usually I would always say I'd rather play the low E flat for like a melody like that,
Yeah. Are you playing when you're playing this when you're playing, let's say, with a big band? Are you playing handheld mic, or you're just using the Sennheiser?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, playing jazz gigs, usually I like holding the microphone in my hand, just to be able to move a little more.
Yeah.
Because I'm super jealous of other instrumentalists and other instruments that are just like way more physical to play. But yeah, lately I prefer just having the microphone in a mic stand and just play into it and have the freedom with my hands and also be more precise. So yeah.
You feel it's more precise. Like the only challenge I find, for instance, when I'm playing, because I like the sound of the Sennheiser. I mean, better than the cupping a mic. I mean, it doesn't matter what mic it is. It could be a 58. It could be anything.
Yeah.
The sound of the Sennheiser is just a nicer, more open sound. The only thing is you have to really know the music. If you're trying to read at the same time, and it's very difficult, I find, to read and to stay on mic.
Okay.
I noticed you did a wonderful job. I guess is it a classical excerpt or a modern classical excerpt? That you just did this really difficult passage. I just saw that you posted last week or something.
There was the high harmonica, right?
Pardon?
There was the high harmonica, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So that are you reading that, or you did that from memory?
I do read that. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty fresh playing that piece. Like.
Right. So that's exceptionally difficult, and to be able to read it and to still be able to be centered to the mic so that you're being picked up. That's not easy.
Yeah. Just in general, like still thinking about like how to make the harmonica sound as good as possible in like an orchestra setting.
Right. I mean, even for me in let's say in a jazz club setting, whatnot, I go through a lot of different. I've gone through a lot of different. How do you call it? Setups. I was using an old Supro amp that I had, and for me that gave me the nicest kind of old touch of saturation crunch without without too much distorted sound. There's something about it. It's a 1962 Supro 16T. It's one of those things you turn it on, you set the treble, the treble all the way down or most of the way down, and it gives you the right sound right away. I don't have to do anything, and I play through a 58, which is I'm not looking for the bullet sound, so it gives a nice sound right away. And now I'm trying to look at that, trying to recreate that sound with pedals. It's difficult. There's nothing that will give me that sound, that instantaneous kind of slightly overdriven or slightly saturated sound without the pedals. I'm sitting there tweaking for like a half an hour before a show, and it's the last thing I want to have to do.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's just lately that I feel more flexible not holding the microphone in my hands.
Yeah.
And then on the higher pitched harmonicas, like, that's also weird because I feel like you get less physical response from the reeds themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, on B flat harmonica, you kind of know how a whole band feels like. There's more of like a physical sensation happening here. You get less of that on the higher pitched harmonicas. So then, like a higher, like a fast kind of phrase, it's only about like the physical movement of whatever, just the harmonica or your head and whatever you're moving. And you need there's like so less, just like so little air needed to activate a reed. There's like next to the reed you want to play. If you're in the upper octave right,
I think a lot of it is. There's two aspects to it. One is just you don't. I mean, I presume you as well don't practice enough on the higher harmonicas.
Exactly.
I think that's what it comes down to ultimately. The other thing that's strange to me is that I visualize when I'm playing. I'm visualizing a piano keyboard, let's say. So, but it's strange. I'm visualizing a larger distance, let's say on a low G harmonica, like I have to go a larger distance to bend something to the right note than I would on a higher harmonica. But in reality, the distance is not as huge as my mind thinks it is. It's something weird. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm trying to get at. Like I'm trying to say, let's say I'm playing. That's F on F major on a C harmonica. Let me see if I can find my, where's my G harmonica? I had it up 2 seconds ago. Here's my G. Or actually, I'll do even better. I'll find my low F. Yeah. I'm in my head. I'm seeing this like this is from here to here. That's a low F harmonica. How do you call it? First flat position. So I'm playing in B flat. It feels enormous. That feels so tiny. So in my mind, I have to, but the distance between the holes are exactly the same. Oh, yeah. And you have to remember that. Like I don't have to move any further on the instrument.
Yeah, that's the exact feeling I have playing that phrase on an E harmonica.
Right.
That's true. And there are like quite a few passages that are very high. And that's why I also like just started to check if I can play the 10-hole half-step band on all of my instruments. This is a D flat. Kind of works. The D harmonica is the only instrument that isn't customized.
I mean, this is a low F. I mean, it's obviously much easier than. I mean, that came out better because in that moment that you'd asked me to play the half step bend, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I haven't done that in a little bit, so I better practice that.
Kind of. There was like a.
What key were you playing?
There was E flat, and now I'm going to E.
It's hard, but the truth is, do you really ever want to play it? It's so high.
If it's part of the composition, though, what are you gonna do?
Okay. That's required.
But then also, there's a long-held 10-hole half-step band on a low F-sharp harmonica in there, and I feel it's super hard to just stay in tune on that note.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great challenge. that's a great. You know what? That you just have brought up the one area. There are two areas of the diatonic harmonica that distinctly I don't work on enough, and that's the top, like you're saying, the half step bend on the top note, on the top hole, and holding hole number one overblow. So the both ends. Those are the two areas. I can use it as a passing tone.
Yeah.
I can use it as a very quick note, but I rarely ever in performance setting can ever really land on that note in a determined fashion.
Yeah, there's that beautiful Carlos Cerunco song. I forgot about the name. Paradise, maybe Paradise? Has that one hole overblow in there.
But he doesn't hold it. Is he holding it?
No, that's what I wanted to say. It's also like more of a passing note.
Yeah, I mean the technique. I'm sure you use the same technique. I'm using like kind of a mouth breathing technique to get it.
Oh, okay.
How to do it. I'm just kind of like a baby spitting out food, because you have to have the harmonica has to be super well set up. Let's see if I have one that's well set up for that. This is actually one I set up myself. There, it came out. So I mean, maybe if I gapped this one tighter, but I rarely sit on that note. Find also if the air comes from here as opposed to from up here, you have more support. And the same thing for a regular overblow. If the air comes from here, from your diaphragm, you have less of that pinch sound. If I go, I don't know if you can hear this, and we're kind of jumping around from subject to subject. Sorry. If I go to like that, it's such a pinch sound. That's where I'm focusing all the air in here. If I bring the air from down here, you can have such a much mellower sound. And I defy the anti-overblowers to find real fault with that, I can understand some of the negative comments against that where it's like shrill and shrieking, but if you play if you can kind of hide it by bringing the support from a lower area and not up too kind of pushing the air, making it shrill, you can do a better job of creating the illusion of chromaticism on the diatonic harmonica.
That's like a book title. The illusion of chromaticism on the diatonic harmonica. So how did you actually discover overblows then? Did you hear somebody else play them, or was it online, or
So no, it was through Howard's. I remember. Yeah, I left out the instructional video, the famous instructional video from Homespun Tapes.
Okay.
But I remember, again, it was one of those things that I was so overwhelmed by the content of it. I would just watch it over and over again just for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is happening. This is real. That, wow, I can't believe he's playing like a legitimate, bebop solo on Autumn Leaves on how do you call it? What else did he do? He did Sweet Georgia Brown in a few different keys, and then of course I think he played blues in all 12 keys. I think he played it on a B flat harmonica, if I recall correctly. And that was just amazing to me. So but I still didn't understand necessarily, he mentioned overblowing as a technique. But I didn't really understand it until I just kind of one day forced a note out on hole number 6. I don't remember. I think he mentions it in the video that maybe hole number 6 is the easiest to start on, and I remember just forcing that note out. But once you had that note, I mean, it's one thing to be able to have the technique. The other thing is using it. And I remember, just what do I do now? Okay, here's an extra note. Great. There's the technique, and then there's using it in a musical setting, in a musical scenario. And the first thing I would do was I was mapping out the harmonica. Let me get a better one. What's wrong with you? Because I do everything according to C. I would sit with the piano. I would literally go C. I would say C. Play C. Okay, C sharp. And trying to train myself. I mean, hours and hours of just training, and then just playing arpeggios and whatnot. Really the same thing that any.
I remember doing this at the online school. The major seven arpeggios and stuff like that.
I still do those exercises because you get out of shape. If you don't do it regularly, you take a step back.
That's
that's how I started, and then
always, yeah.
and then it was really through actually my involvement with an organization called CLES Canada, where I was getting into Jewish music seriously. It was this wonderful summer camp north of Montreal, where I went there as a pianist, but there's not enough pianos to go around, mostly in these places, right? How many keyboards can you have in these music camps? At best, one per ensemble session, and there was always 10 pianists. So I took up the harmonica, and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to play these modes on the diatonic harmonica. So, some of the familiar modes don't require overblows, like we played at originally. That doesn't require an overblow, but I want. There was another mode that came up. It was in A minor. This mode called it's Dorian sharp 4. But that requires, if I'm playing it in A minor on in A on a C harmonica, requires 2 overblows.
Yeah.
So I had to be able to incorporate overblows into a kind of a real world setting. One of the first tunes I learned also, was just there's a lot of songs in D minor. So I had to play it at B flat overload. so these were songs that I was hearing people playing on violin and on clarinet and whatnot, and I had to, kind of finesse the overblow so that they wouldn't stick out so much like sore thumbs, and it gave me an opportunity to, in a very diatonic kind of setting, to be able to incorporate overblows into my playing, and not jumping in right away to like Cherokee or or giant steps.
Okay. Wow, I love the A minor, the Dorian with the
sharp, beautiful mode.
Yeah, I think I never really played like a piece in that key. But it's a beautiful mode. Yeah.
I mean, it lies better if you're in D.
Oh
yeah. Because it's the same as it's the same as Spanish Phrygian, but the tonic is one full step down.
Of course, yeah. I do remember playing this in F with 12 songs in 12 keys. Our Levy DVD. It lays out pretty well there too in 12th position.
Oh, this. Oh yeah, it does like what, the I Falafel Blues or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I don't remember this. I don't remember the song, but I remember him blazing through something in that mode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned the connection to the piano, because actually when I got my first harmonica, bought it in my hometown local music store, came back home. I think my grandpa was at home visiting, and he sat down at the piano and he was like, okay, first thing you're gonna do now is play the major scale. And he was just like starting on the C, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna start on the whole one. And of course, like as soon as we got to F, I had huge problems. Yeah. And of course, like my grandpa didn't know either, like what's wrong, like.
Exactly. I'm proud to say, though, I have a number of it's the first time I've ever had really young students, like, younger than, let's say, 11 years old. I have students, let's say 9, 10, 11. I call them young students, and I'm teaching them. They have no concept of this is a diatonic instrument and you should only be able to play in C. That they right from the beginning were doing, some modal appellation music. What's the song there? Hold on a sec. Shady Go. I'm trying to teach them the song like Shady Grove. I messed that up a little bit, but basically trying to get them to not even think that all they should be able to play in is in C. And so they're playing stuff in A minor, and they're playing music in D Dorian. They're even playing music. They're not old enough, and they don't have the strength to overblow yet. Although there's this wonderful young lady from I'm not sure where she's from. Maybe she's Taiwanese. Tansy.
Tansy? Is it Tansy?
Yu, is that her name?
Yeah.
She's unbelievable, and she's young, and she's overblowing very, very convincingly. But I don't know if they're ready. I think they have the muscle strength, but they're getting there, and they're playing like let's do. Yeah, I'll do this game. And these are little kids, and they're playing. They have no concept, no idea. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this on a C harmonica.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to introduce them to playing in, at the very least, multiple modes, related to C, obviously, but not C major, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. That's really good. because it's can feel weird for older students. Even though it's like not hard in that kind of sense, you know.
right. If they're used to many, it takes a very special student, which I have one in particular from Virginia. I don't know if he's watching. That, you know, older gentleman that played blues for a long period of time, and he's one of the few older students I had that's really grasping how to play in F, in D major, you know, on a C diatonic. Like he's into it, and he practices, and he's getting it, and he's not resistant to it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you find? I mean, I presume that your students are coming to you because they want to learn to play like you do. I doubt they're coming to you with like an attitude that's resistant to playing like you play.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have beginners, and I don't know, they maybe want to do something else. I always want to try to just play, yeah, just their favorite style of music on the harmonica. Like if they are into film music, we're gonna play a bunch of film music soundtracks, you know.
Right.
And if they are into grooves and stuff, I don't know. Like I have an older student who's really into everything that grooves, like some stuff you can dance to.
Right.
Could be funk. We're playing to a lot of Afro beats, like just because like he feels like he has more rhythmic ideas and improvising over that stuff.
So he's just like kind of setting up a backing track and just jamming over it.
Yeah. I mean, I do produce music too, and I can even use some of my beats in my lessons, which is kind of nice. Yeah. I still had this open. I thought it would be nice to do a quick shout out talking about these Hohner affiliated customizers, because Andrew is also part of them, and also Andre Coelho. He's from Portugal.
I actually have a harmonica of his.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a wonderful customizer. I have to be in touch with him because I believe he's in Spain, right?
He's in Portugal.
Oh, he's in Portugal. Pardon me. Sorry. Yeah, so he's closer to Israel. So I would imagine I would get the harmonicas sooner if I ordered from him.
Oh yeah, because he just posted that he's part of the affiliate customizer program now, just as Joe Spires and Andrew. How do I pronounce his last name? Ajax, and Richard Slay and Thomas Hanke from Germany, like my instruments.
I was going to ask you, so you do get customized instruments?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think I played these for 10 years now.
My wife will kill me, but I think I need to buy more harmonicas. I'll ask you afterwards for his number.
I still have to get a D from him. Like this is just like a regular gold melody, but Joel Anderson sent me one of his combs.
Custom comb,
which definitely improved the whole thing already.
I'm curious if you got a Joe Spires, what you would think of it. I mean,
yeah. I would love to try.
I don't want to give him a swell head, but to me, that's my favorite harmonicas that I have in my collection are from him. But I haven't tried everyone, so I'm sure everyone can. There are other great customizers out there. I just don't know them yet.
Yeah, of course, Joe is part, and Joel Anderson. So everybody out there, if you want to get a custom harmonica, yeah, these are some guys that are definitely recommended, I guess. Yeah, we'd love to try Joe Spires. I gotta go shopping.
They're not inexpensive, as you can well imagine, but I can almost assure you that whatever you pay for the harmonica, it's going to be a remarkable instrument, and B, it's still not. He still doesn't make enough money off of it. I'm sure he puts in many hours, and in the end, it's a labor of love for him. It's a passion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so if you set up your own harmonicas, what do you usually do to them?
So I usually, here's one of the Seidels that I set up. So basically what I do is, first of all, it's something that, what's his name, from Seidel, I'm forgetting his name, but I'm blanking here. But he basically said, at first I zero the reeds. I kind of push in the rivet end of the reed to make sure it's just kind of sort of flush with the reed plate. It's not sticking up. Then I do the basic. I emboss. I do first half emboss. Okay. See how that goes. Because every harmonica is different out of the box. It's so finicky. It's so personal. So I emboss. I'm all the reeds. I flat sand the comb and the replate. Just make sure it's all I guess purely flat with very fine how do you call it, sandpaper, and a trial and error. I put the cover back on, play, but then take it, if it's the reed stuck, I have to sometimes shave off. I'm not methodical. I don't know if you've ever gone on Andrew Zajak's wonderful website. I mean, basically, he's telling you, he explains like how to emboss without over embossing. Like he talks about working against yourself. He said, if you really know what you're doing, you're not going to over emboss. You're going to get it to the point before you get to the stuck reed.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not I'm not that good. And a lot of times, like I said, like you asked me, do I work on my harmonicas? I mean, yeah, but how many harmonicas have I worked on? 8, 9. I get them to the point that I really like, and I use them for 10 years, and maybe every now and then I have to tune a reed here and there,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just another shout out also to Alexei Kormin from Estonia. He's also an amazing Seidel customizer. Oh, cool. Because we were mentioning all these Hohner affiliated, but he's in the chat. And he's amazing, and he also gave a workshop on harmonica customization at the Estonian Harmonica Festival.
You were there at one point, correct?
Yeah, I did play there 2 times.
Nice. Beautiful. I'm sure it's beautiful.
Estonia is very nice. And it was summer, like, was it last year? I think like 30 degrees Celsius, and you could swim at the beach. It's like the festival is happening in the summer capital of the country,
right?
Basically, so everybody's going there, which is kind of nice. But yeah, tell us about your harmonica festival. So it took place for the 2nd time, right?
This was the 2nd time this past year. Actually about 3 weeks ago. The first year, it was during Corona, or just
in between.
So we still kept it pretty local this year. But last year we had, I'm sure the wonderful Ronnie Eitan. In my mind, I mean, he's in the top 1% of chromatic players, in my opinion, in the world. He's wonderful as a jazz player, but also he plays, I think Brendan Power that customized for him a microtonal harmonica. So it has multiple buttons, I think, for half steps and quarter tones. So he can play very legitimate and convincing Arabic and Turkish music. So we had Ronnie Eitan. There's a wonderful blues player in Israel by the name of Dov Hammer, who's like basically the like solid Chicago style blues player here. son of a rabbi, a well-known rabbi. It doesn't hurt that he's actually from Chicago itself, so he has that. He has that kind of. You say in Yiddish, yichus. He has that background, that Chicago blues background. Who else do we have? We had the wonderful Dror Adler, who is, I don't know if you know him, but basically, again, we called him like the godfather of Israeli harmonica. He played with the Adler trio mostly as I believe, a chord player. And over the last few years, since the Adler trio hasn't been performing that much, I believe it was his brother that was the lead player that passed away. But he's been playing a lot of chromatic harmonica and does wonderful, tangos and ragtime and classical pieces as well. I'm trying to think of, we had Rotem Kovel, who you don't know about, and I hope you know about her soon, a wonderful chromatic player, and she plays, choro music.
Oh, beautiful.
We have Yael Feldheim, who's a great jazz player. Ariel Bart, who we mentioned, a wonderful jazz player as well. Forgetting Yotam Ben Or, another. He's originally from Belgium, then to Israel, and now lives in New York. And the one thing that's amazing to me is that it wasn't a huge venue, but it was packed both nights with people that were students of the harmonica, and then. But I would say it was a good mix of 50-50 of just people that were interested in music. Not just how do you call it? Not just harmonica fans, and I think that's the goal of the festival, is to introduce not just lovers of harmonica to this event, but lovers of music in general. Yeah. And that's one thing, I was quite proud of the variety of music. Like I was mentioning, we had straight up blues. I played kind of my own music, which is, which could be a mix of, I guess you call it Judeo-Turkish kind of style of music. But then you had straight ahead jazz, you had Brazilian, you had, tangos, you have Israeli popular song, from the 1950s and 60s. So it was a nice variety.
Okay, well, what's the main setting you are going on stage with nowadays?
So, strangely enough, I'm playing more straight ahead, like blues jazz than I have in many years. Like in Canada, I had like a kind of I called it like a not so or slightly twisted blues group. I would play little weird ragtime with a guitar, bass, and drums. Here in Israel, because it's less familiar to the people, I'm doing like pretty straight kind of mix of gospel and New Orleans style music. It'd start off like St. James Infirmary. That kind of thing. Playing a lot more piano than I would normally be used to, and it's only on special occasions that I'm playing like my kind of original hybrid of Balkan Judeo-Turkish music. I think there's a lot of that going on here, and I think the presenters want to hear me playing and singing more blues. I think because it's something that's a little rarer here.
Okay.
That's a long answer to a short question.
Yeah, where can people check out your music? I mean, I do know I put all the links into the bio, or like in the description box, but what's the best place to get your CDs?
The best place, I would say, if you want to hear everything that I've done, I think almost my entire discography is on Bandcamp.
Okay.
So, and you can, and I think you can listen to the music for free there. I mean, I'd like if you bought it, but but if you're on a tight budget, you can listen to it for free. I have, I'm not too good at marketing myself, because on on Apple Tunes or Apple Music, whatever it's called these days, the latest album I put out was an album called Harmonica, by my band Shtreiml. It's not under my name, so a lot of people don't even know about these albums. And some of I would say my best work was two albums, one by the name of Eastern Hora, and the other one by the name of Harmeron, Harmeiron, or is it Harmeron? I don't know. I don't remember. That's not good either.
Harmer, yeah, I'm on the Bandcamp page right now.
Right. So I'm quite proud of it's not all harmonica. I give people a little break but it's all original music, and it's some of the music I'm most proud of. It was recorded just before Corona, and I mixed it during Corona, and I released it. And in an ideal world, I would have toured with that album, but it wasn't to be, because of ban on traveling.
Yeah.
But it was released, and I'm quite proud of it. But very few people know about it, and it would be really great if people check it out. If people are interested in some of the bluesier side of things that I do, I did come out with an album called Wiseman's Rag, which has a number of I understand that not everyone's into Turkish music or klezmer music, but certainly if you're a harmonica player and you like blues and or Americana, there's something on that album. Music on that album should appeal to people.
Oh yeah, it's all on the Bandcamp. I just added it to the chat. You mixed one of the records yourself. Is that true?
Which one?
Oh, you just said something like that you mixed one of the records.
No, I didn't mix any of the records. I mean, I was involved in the mixing of every album. I mean, I'm a bit of a control freak that way. Like as much as the engineers who I love dearly wanted me to get the hell out of the studio while they're in the middle of mixing, I sat there for hours with them.
Yeah. So what's your setup then? Recording in the studio, and also what are you looking for in your harmonica sound if like somebody mixes the record? Like,
great question. So if you listen to like the first cut on Wiseman's Rag, it has a slightly overdriven sound. So what did I do? I did two things. One, I played through the Super amp, so give it a little tight, a little bit of a crunch. I had the Sennheiser in front of me, the 441. So, and I blended the two. So I had to handhold, how do you call it, a 58. That went into a separate room with my isolated amplifier. Plus I had some of the natural sound. So ideally, that's actually a great question. I try to recreate that sound in a live setting where you have a bit of a blend of the airiness of the 441 in front of you, and then the tightness and the saturation of the amp.
Okay. That
for me is a wonderful sound. It's kind of the best of both worlds. And if you have a good audio engineer in front of house and also doing the monitors, that's the ideal sound for me. The album Eastern Hora, I'm quite happy with the harmonica sound on that. And it's kind of the same idea except without the amp. I had one of a ribbon mic, a nice old Coles, I believe, ribbon mic, very dark, beautiful dark sound, and I handheld a 58. So I get the airiness from the what's it called, from the Coles, and the others, and you blend in. I got the more tight kind of saturated sound from the handheld, and you blend them and you find the right balance. I mean, other than that, of course, you EQ something, you put reverb on it, maybe a little delay. I don't think I put any delay on anything, but reverb. But other than that, I'm not doing any effects in the studio. And live, I'm just trying to do the same thing. I'm hand holding a mic. Ideally, in a good situation, I'm using the 441 just in front of me, and I'm playing through. I have a nice Tech 21 Q strip for it's an EQ pedal, and I also use a Tech 21 reverb. That's the standard. For other gigs, like when I want to get a little bit crazy, it's not so crazy. I'll use like I want to, let's say, emulate an accordion. I'll use I have an MXR stereo chorus, and then if I want to get a little crazier, I'll use the micropog for the up down. So that gives a real. I'm using it more for an accordion sound. So, for instance, I was doing a show. It was like a Leonard Cohen tribute in Montreal, and the song called for accordion, but I don't really play accordion very well, and I didn't want to use a melodica, so I basically used the up down, the micropog with the how do you call it, with the stereo chorus, and it really sounds like an accordion.
Yeah, that's great. I only use I don't use my pedals at all anymore. They're just sitting here. I could sell
I know,
them.
and it's a disease because I still go online. I saw the Yump pedal. What's the gentleman from Portugal's name again that does the customizing?
Andre Coelho.
Andre, I'm tempted to try it because it looks so cool. I don't need it, but I want it.
How about the MIDI harmonica?
Pardon?
How about the MIDI harmonica?
Does it exist in a diatonic form?
Nah, not really. That's the thing. You can kind of like set it to diatonic tuning, but then like the bands, you got to do like some physical motion with your finger or something.
Did you ever, I did go out and buy a chromatic during Corona to learn a little bit. And also, do you play chromatic harmonica at all?
Just a little. Like, I got into the blues stuff at some point, listening to Dennis Grunling, and then I did practice all my major scales in all the keys, but
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. I go to it every now and then just for fun, but I have one student that is a diatonic student, but she also wants to do chromatic, and so I try to stay one step ahead of her. That's as good as I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I remember teaching a student who played, I think, diminished tunes instruments or something. So I always just put up his harmonica layout in front of me so I could tell him what to do.
That's exceptionally difficult. I think probably more difficult than trying to teach someone chromatic. That's relearning an entirely new instrument, which I admire people that do that, but it's exceptionally difficult.
Yeah. So the Christmas challenge is coming up on Twitch on Sunday. Which Christmas song would you send in if you would participate?
I'm trying to think what Christmas songs I know. I'm Jewish, but there's a great parody song that just came out. All your favorite Christmas songs were written by Jews.
Okay.
Yes, but there's what's it called? I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. It's a beautiful song. I'm trying to think of the other ones. What's the one by Chestnut? How does Chestnut?
I usually play it in 12.
Sing me the first line. I don't play these songs very much, but that's a gorgeous song. That's a great one. But I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas is probably is that Irving Berlin? I think it is.
Oh yeah.
So.
shoot. Yeah, that's the only note you can hear.
I can't. I'm not doing able to. Yeah, I have to have the music in front of me. Beautiful.
I don't know if that's a beautiful sound.
Is it a beautiful sound? I don't know. That's nice. That's gorgeous. Howard played. I think he played in D. No, that's yeah, it's in D. He played what's it called?
Blue Monk.
Blue Monk, yeah. It's the first time I ever heard anyone banding double note with such control.
Yeah.
Too much to work on.
What is your practice? Do you have a practice routine right now anymore?
You know what? It's all gig dependent. Like I'm usually just practicing. You know, for instance, today. I was like just going like noodling around on soloing on How High the Moon or something like that. You know, I'll play a chord. You know. I'm just like playing along with myself, trying to just be able to copy whatever lines I can do on the piano, just try to be able to play them on the harmonica. I didn't really play that one so well, but I'll just play a chord.
Yeah.
Trying to accompany myself doing that kind of stuff. And then playing the pieces that I know that I'm gonna need to rehearse for the next show type of thing.
Yeah.
I was playing a Hanukkah song.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful to just like also play some chords on the piano and solo over it. Yeah.
I mean, and beyond that, like you were doing playing. That wasn't so clean, but you get the picture. Like I'm rushing through it, but just playing arpeggios and. Doing Mixolydian, major
like
with
kind
the
of a
with the
bebop.
addition of the flat seven, in all 12 keys, and that, or I used to do and try to do that in all 12 keys, going 1, 4, 3, and then I would do something like 6, flat, and flat 2, and then back down to the 1 type of thing, and trying to do it all in all 12 keys as well.
Oh yeah. Wow, I do have to practice.
There's limited amount of time. That's the thing. I remember one of the first lessons I took with Howard, and I asked the most naive question: what do I have to do, to get to the level that you are at? And it's like 3 hours a day to the exclusion of all else. So in other words, you're not on your phone, you're not watching TV, you're focused on
And you're
the
not jamming
harmonica
and
for
just
3
playing.
hours a day. Pardon?
And you're not jamming and just playing.
Right. That's a thing. I mean, it is important. I do find that it is important, to do play-alongs,
Yeah.
mostly for work, like a physical workout purpose. Because I've had instances where I'm practicing a song and I'm really getting take a sheet music and I'm really working hard on the song, and then I get to the show and I take a 3-minute solo and my lips are shaking. I obviously didn't practice enough to tire myself out in a practice session to get to the point that I had the dexterity, the longevity, or it was not dexterity, it's the ability to play for a long time. So I find putting How High the Moon on 24 choruses on iReal Book or whatever it's called there, that helps. I mean, because you can play as many scales as you want, but to get and that's great, and it's a great idea, but to really get that nonstop, like powering through 8-minute solo, that helps your ability in a performance setting.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, wonderful. So what are you up to next?
Next is much of the same. I actually have a whole bunch of new material, so I'm hoping to record at least an EP. 7-8 songs. I mean, it's kind of a philosophical debate. Is it worth it to record new albums anymore? Do people just want to see 2-minute video on YouTube and that's good enough? I don't know. I find I put so much effort into writing this music. It's a shame not to record it. In many ways, I do it for myself and for the 25 other people that care. It's not an audience of thousands. I'm not trying to be humble. It's the sad truth. I mean, how many people appreciate it? It's it's a handful. It really is worldwide that appreciate new music and new music for the harmonica. But I still feel it's, as long as there's enough people out there to say, when you coming out with your next album, I'm gonna do it, budget permitting.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I hope we're gonna do a Twitch challenge at some point next year. We could think of a topic.
I would love to do that. That'd be a great idea. I already have a number of things I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it could be a musical style. It could be could be a scale. It could be a mood. I don't know.
That'd be great.
So yeah, awesome. Everybody out there, check out Jason in the description box below. You get the link to the Bandcamp site, to the Shtreiml website, and everything. Follow us on Facebook. What else do we use? Instagram. And join the Harmonicas Discord server. That's where you can upload your recording to submit for the monthly challenges. And yeah, I'll do another live stream, the last one, on Sunday with Liam Ward. The Christmas Harmonica Challenge. Yeah, Sunday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. looking forward to some nice submissions. I already saw one by Alexei, and I think he recorded 4 harmonicas. So
the competition is very stiff in these events. I've seen some amazing players submitting.
very true. Yeah. Yeah, it's always exciting, but we do need beginner submissions. It's crazy. Like, we have 3 categories. It's beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And sometimes not a single beginner uploads something. So you just got to record something and you're going to win. So
I'll tell my student, you know what, I never thought about it, but you know, my super beginner students are too shy, likely, but I'll tell them, listen, they need beginner submissions.
Yeah, definitely.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Very true. And you're very likely to win in the beginner category.
What's the prize this week?
Oh, it's the this time it's the golden little lady.
Ah, nice, beautiful. I keep on getting those as gifts.
Yeah,
I have at least 20 of those.
that's a lot. Yeah, mine isn't that shiny anymore, but mine is actually customized.
Oh, well, that's fancy.
Thomas, he customized it. I can play overblows on it and stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's fancy. It's very fancy.
Yeah.
And also probably hard to do, I would imagine. It's so tiny.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know where Joe got his, but I think he has 5 holes. That might have been like a very old version of a little lady. I don't know. Because at the Harmonica Masters in Trossingen, he always used to play like a 3rd position blues, and he could play like basically 4-hole draw, but also go up the octave and play 8-hole draw on that little thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful. Okay. Everybody out there, I hope you have a great evening or good day, wherever you are. Thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. But I hope everybody watching right now is going to tune in on Sunday. So, see you, everybody.